Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up tags with DashQuill. Tags are a core concept of all of DashQuill's services, so whether you're using forms, faxing, messaging, or telehealth, it's important to understand how these work. So what are tags? Tags are basically categories or like folders that different things can go into. You can set them up in the settings of every service. So if you go to service faxing, for example, and click edit, you'll be able to see here that you can actually create a tag. To create a tag, just pick a color. So that's going to be the color for the tag and then the name. And then optionally, you can put a description, which kind of explains what this tag is. Now, as you can see here, I have a couple different tags set up. It really depends on the office what categories you want to make, but something that we see very often is the offices will set up tags like referrals, claims, medical records, these kind of like groups. Or alternatively, they might do a provider name as a way to kind of keep documents specific to providers. Now, once you've saved those tags, if you go to your service, such as faxing here, you'll see that whenever a fax comes in, you can actually assign it to one of these groups. So for example, you can see we have referrals, claims, medical records, and you can just choose which one you want it to be in. And then later, if you want to go and you want to filter to just those groups, you can very easily kind of find those faxes. And so it makes it very easy to organize. Now, the other really important thing that DashQuill can do is it can actually auto-assign tags using AI. How does that work? Well, basically you go to your settings, you make sure that AI auto-tagging is enabled. And you'll see that there's actually two options, simple and decision tree. The difference between these is that simple will just use these descriptions, while decision tree is a little more involved and it lets you set up complex rules. A lot of times, simple is more than enough, just because if you only have a few categories, it's quite easy for the AI to detect which one it is. But if you do have a lot of categories and a lot of tags, you can actually click Edit Tree, and you can create a decision tree which explains how to assign the tags. So how does this work? Well, basically you set up a series of questions and answers, and based on those, you'll assign the tags. So as an example here, you can ask, what kind of document is this fax? And then what you can do is you can set up these different options. So basically, based on these three, if you have a referral, claim, or medical record, it's going to use these. Then we can add another question if we say if it's an other. So we're setting up a fourth kind of option here. And we can say here, what kind of, or what provider is named on this fax? And then you can also set up for those providers. And so you can play around with this and you can set up the different rules. But essentially how this boils down is that first the AI will basically look and say, what kind of document is this? If it's any of these three, it'll go and assign them to these tags. And if it's an other, it's going to go to the next question, which is this one here. And then here it's going to ask what provider is on this fax. And then based on these, it'll assign. And then let's also put a no tag here. And that's if it's none or other, just to kind of capture that like edge case where there's nothing on it. Now, once that looks good and you've kind of set up your tree, you hit save. It's going to automatically kind of save this decision tree for you. And if I go now, make sure I use the decision tree method and I go to my fax, you can actually see if I were to rerun this, it's going to go and it's going to automatically assign it to the right category. And just like that, now you've learned how to set up tags with DashQuill. Again, this video was just for faxing, but it should work the same for any service. If you do need help, just let us know, contact our support, and we'd be happy to walk you through the setup and basically get this working for your office. So yeah, appreciate you watching. Thank you. Bye.